Adam West wore his Batman outfit for a final time in 1967 as part of a covert endeavor. In London, he shot something that vanished for more than half a century. No fan in America had ever seen it. Even the largest Batman fans were unaware of its existence. The video was hidden away in British archives and was never seen again. Then, in 2018, it was discovered by someone looking for lost TV history. Viewers were stunned by what Adam West stated in that scene that was omitted. Even the most well-known superheroes can conceal sinister secrets, as the discovery demonstrated. Ed Graham Productions acquired the rights to create a Batman television series in 1964. Making a simple Saturday morning adventure was the plan. Something reminiscent of the Superman tales that CBS had shown to kids in the 1950s. It was intended to use NFL linebacker Mike Henry, who eventually transformed into Tarzan, as the first live-action Batman on TV. After weeks of negotiations, CBS was on the verge of finalizing the contract by 1965. Never was the show taken up by the network. Batman might have become a mild children's show if it had been approved, which would have severely damaged the character's reputation in popular culture for years to come. Just before production was about to start, the entire plan fell apart, and Henry quickly departed the project to portray Tarzan. Though it also paved the groundwork for the primetime Batman that eventually became a global sensation, that failure ensured that the world never saw a Saturday morning Batman. At Chicago's Playboy mansion owned by Hugh Hefner, an unexpected incident occurred that same year. Hefner made the decision to show all 15 of the Batman serial's episodes from 1943. The crowd was full of socialites and celebrities. Initially appearing to be only a sentimental celebration, it triggered a societal response that no one had anticipated. During the action, the audience cheered, jeered the villain, and yelled at the screen while dressing up. The screenings were covered by the New York Times and other publications, which noted the crazy atmosphere. Executives in Hollywood suddenly started to view Batman differently. Once forgotten, the vintage serial had returned to popularity. Hefner's party demonstrated that people were open to enjoying Batman's extravagant aesthetic. Had that not happened, the character might have remained trapped on dusty movie reels. Columbia Pictures capitalized on the excitement in 1965 by re-editing the 1943 serial into a single, 4.5-hour movie titled An Evening with Batman and Robin. Chicago's Playboy Theater hosted its premiere, and it swiftly made its way to college towns and art house theaters. As midnight showings in theaters sold out and concession sales reached all-time highs, crowds flooded in. In some venues, the screenings are even divided over 2 days, with 7 chapters showing on Saturday and 8 on Sunday. Lines were said to reach around the block, with fans arriving dressed as characters. Columbia execs were taken aback by the accomplishment, and ABC took notice as well. The story was plainly told by the figures. Batman had the potential to attract large crowds. The network was persuaded by those ticket sales and headlines that a live-action Batman series might be a huge success. Yale Udoff, a young ABC executive, came into the forefront during this time. From his early childhood, Udoff had been a devotee of Batman. He also felt more strongly than ever that the character should be on TV after witnessing the Chicago audience's response. At every meeting, he started to promote the concept, even yelling at his supervisors, "We should do Batman." They initially laughed him off, but Udoff wouldn't give up. A complete concept for a chic television show that combined parts of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and James Bond was written by him. He became renowned for his perseverance. Some ABC execs even acknowledged that they began reading Batman comics covertly while traveling across the country, concealing them in business magazines. Udoff's perseverance ultimately proved crucial in persuading ABC to accept the risk. When William Dozier was brought on as producer in 1966, he made a startling admission. It was the first comic book he had ever read. When he eventually picked up some Batman issues for his investigation, he was so taken aback by them that he concluded the material was completely unreliable. He was persuaded that comedy was the only viable option by devices like shark-repellent bat spray and movie plots involving Batman surfing against the Joker. He decided to create a campy imitation of the comics instead of a literal copy. At a period when satire was already prevalent in American society because to the works of Andy Warhol and Lichtenstein, it was a daring decision. There was nothing like the outcome on TV. The style was characterized by flashing phrases like pow and bam, bright outfits, and exaggerated villains. Dozier's strategy was effective. Batman became an immediate phenomenon after its January 1966 premiere. Others did not agree with Dozier's concept. Originally, the series had been launched with a feature-length Batman film written by renowned spy author Eric Ambler. The moment he found out that Dozier intended to make the character into a pop art comedy, however, he left the project. Known for his somber thrillers, Ambler had no interest in comedy. His abrupt departure demonstrated the uniqueness of Dozier's concept. It was uncommon for a writer to leave a major project in Hollywood just because he didn't agree with the direction. Another significant event was casting. There were 2 full-screen tests recorded in 1965. Burt Ward and Adam West were in one. Peter Dale played Robin, and Lyle Waggoner played Batman in the other. It was safer to go with Waggoner. He already had a Hollywood following and the appearance that executives wanted. But West was practically unheard of. Comparing the test films side by side, it was found that West and Ward were the ones who were able to capture the peculiar campy vibe that Dozier desired. Rejecting the more well-known star, the studio chose to take a chance. The Carol Burnett Show and Wonder Woman were among the other shows in which Waggoner found success. In a manner that no one else could, however, West and Ward brought Batman and Robin to life. Adam West had a particularly improbable route to the position. He had attracted the producer's notice with a little Nestle commercial. He was able to deliver crazy words with a straight face in that advertisement thanks to his deadpan delivery. Dozier realized at once that this was really the right tone for the show. West beat out more well-known actors to sign his contract on September 21, 1965, merely because he could make Batman appear both serious and humorous at the same time. Due to that special blend, his performance will never be forgotten. In contrast, Burt Ward was chosen to play Robin in 1966. Despite being a youngster in high school when the character was written, he was 20 years old at the time. Audiences were persuaded that Ward was closer to 15 or 16 by his young appearance. During his first 5 days of filming, he was hospitalized 4 times for his own stunts that he conducted behind the scenes. His injuries demonstrated how fully he committed to the task. His vitality and agility effectively portrayed the character, despite years of fan disagreement on his actual age. Experienced stage actors bolstered the 2 main characters and gave the performance more substance. Alan Napier, who was born in 1903 and is related to Neville Chamberlain, the previous Prime Minister of Britain, portrayed Alfred. After receiving training at London's Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, Napier began performing in the 1920s and joined Batman in 1966 at the age of 63. Playing the role of Commissioner Gordon, Neil Hamilton had a wealth of experience from stage plays and silent movies. Their settings gave the show a feeling of realism that counterbalanced the vibrant mayhem surrounding them. Seduction of the Innocent, written by psychiatrist Frederick Wortham, was published in 1954. He made a startling remark in it that swiftly went viral throughout America. Batman stories are mentally gay, according to Wortham. He brought up the fact that Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne shared a home, were single, and occasionally appeared to be lounging next to each other. He even gave examples of boys who told him they wanted to live with Bruce Wayne. Wortham even went so far as to describe the comic as a pipe fantasy of 2 gay people cohabitating. During the height of the so-called Lavender Scare in the 1950s, his theories resonated with broader anxieties. After the publication of the book, the charge persisted. It persisted for years and had a lasting impact on Batman. Even when the Batman TV series became a global success in the 1960s, actors and producers continued to be concerned that any particular element would reignite the dispute. Batman was one of the children's programs of its era that was most rigorously examined for hidden social meaning, with every detail, including dialogue, costumes, and plotlines, scrutinized. The conflict surfaced in 1967 after an article headlined "The Whisper Campaign Against Batman and Robin" appeared in the magazine TV radio album. Despite being only 2 pages lengthy and having pictures of the heroes in costume taking up the remainder of the spread, its words were powerful. The relationship rumors between Batman and Robin, as well as the actors Adam West and Burt Ward, were covered by a mainstream journal for the first time. Despite refuting the allegations, the piece also presented deceptive analogies. According to one phrase, they are probably laughing all the way to the bank even though they must have heard the murmurs, like Liberace did a few years back. The comment was a reference to the well-known pianist Liberace, who in the 1950s had sued newspapers for suggesting he was gay. He reportedly quipped that he cried all the way to the bank after obtaining $8,000 in damages, which was equivalent to $22,000 at the time. The publication, feigning to ignore the rumors, fueled them by mentioning him. It demonstrated the extent to which the rumors had spread and served as a focal point for discussions about television and sexuality at the time. The allusions to Liberace were not incidental. They demonstrated the use of cryptic language and cunning references to bring up the topic without leveling charges. The TV radio album piece made use of this strategy since it anticipated that readers would make the connection. According to the article, the Batman stars were aware of the joke, taking pleasure in their notoriety while disregarding the rumors, just like Liberace. However, the rumors were serious business for the show's producers. They were concerned that the series' perceived homosexual tone may turn off advertisers and the family audience. Executives from ABC intervened right away. They came up with the idea of rewriting some scenes in order to highlight Batman's desire to women. The scene where Batman informs Robin that his fascination with attractive supervillains stems from the early thrusts of manhood is a particularly striking example. Although it was harsh, the line was intentional. Even though it didn't seem appropriate for the campy tone of the series, the scripts frequently had Batman displaying interest in women after that. Reassuring the sponsors and public that the caped crusader was safely heterosexual was a smart step. After the scripts were finished, the campaign continued. Behind the scenes, the company started a marketing campaign to portray Burt Ward and Adam West as unquestionably macho. They were featured in magazines and press kits demonstrating their karate skills, discussing their marriages, or displaying their kids. They even presented their hobbies and exercise as evidence of their manliness. Although the effort was nearly frantic, it demonstrated the amount of strain on the players and the network. The popularity of a whole series, as well as the reputation of a celebrity, might be jeopardized by a mere rumor in the 1960s. The performance itself, meanwhile, started to have issues unrelated to rumors. When Batman first appeared on television in January 1966, he became an immediate phenomenon. It received an incredible 42% of the viewing audience at its peak in February, when it was viewed in 14 million homes. The thrill, however, was short-lived. The Wednesday night shows had fallen so much by March 1966 that they were barely in the top 20 each week. The excitement was wearing off, and the formula was already beginning to feel monotonous, according to ABC memos at the time. Batman weariness was the term that started to circulate. A collapse had resulted from the deterioration by the summer of 1966. Batman had been one of the most watched television programs in the nation just a few months before. However, according to an August 11 Associated Press story, Batman was no longer included among the highest viewed shows, and ratings had dropped precipitously. The audience had vanished, but the merchandise was still selling nicely. This was a much greater decline than the networks had anticipated during the summer. The mania that had shaped vocabulary and fashion was already vanishing. The 1966 premiere of the Batman movie was meant to reignite the enthusiasm. The studio anticipated a big hit and threw money into promotion. The movie only made $1.7 million at the box office instead. It did 122% as well as a typical movie in 20 major cities. However, studio analysts had anticipated an actual hit to be closer to 200%. The film itself did not turn a profit, but merchandise sales continued to be successful. The disappointment caught ABC and 20th Century Fox off guard, who had hoped the movie would prolong the franchise's existence. The ratings were dismal when the second season premiered in September 1966. Across all television series, Batman averaged 34th place, a terrible decline from its top 5 ranking earlier in the year. It didn't help that new antagonists like Catwoman and the Archer were added, as some episodes even dropped into the 40s in the rankings. Cast members publicly expressed concern that cancellation was imminent, and the numbers demonstrated that the enchantment had diminished. Among the supposedly prohibited Batman content from 1966, the most unexpected was not even an American television show. When Adam West donned his Batman suit to record a road safety message for British kids in May 1967, it originated in London. This footage had not been seen for almost 50 years. Even America's most ardent Batman fans were unaware of its existence. When the archive organization Kaleidoscope stumbled onto the movie in 2018 while attempting to retrieve the top 100 missing TV clips from the UK, it was eventually brought back to life. Since it had never been screened outside of Britain before, most people thought it was lost forever. When the general public saw it for the first time in 2018, it was like discovering a hidden gem from British cultural heritage and superhero culture. Batman utilizes his notoriety to teach kids the curb drill, which is Britain's take on traffic safety regulations, in the video. Adam West, who is standing on a peaceful street, cautions kids about the grave risk they face every day when doing so. He walks through the steps with composed authority. When it's safe to cross, stop at the curb, glance right, look left, and look right again. No other actor has ever been able to integrate the American superhero image with British safety warnings while remaining completely in character as Batman. Its 2018 rediscovery serves as a potent reminder that even the largest franchises can lose parts of their past, as the movie was forgotten for decades. On April 14, 2018, the first public showing was held at Birmingham City University. Kaleidoscope's worldwide quest for 100 lost television gems, which included episodes of Doctor Who and the Avengers, began with the screening. The fact that Batman had previously participated in a forgotten road safety film shocked many of the long-standing fans and experts who attended the event. The rediscovery demonstrated the extent to which significant media remains undiscovered in private collections and archives. Fans were also perplexed by a piece of Batman history involving singer Leslie Gore. In Scat Darn Catwoman, a two-part episode, she played Catwoman's sidekick Pussycat. The broadcast took place on January 25, 1967. She sang the songs California Nights and Maybe Now while telling the story. For reasons that have never been revealed, Maybe Now disappeared from American reruns, yet California Nights persisted. Despite being included in some Prince and international broadcasts, the song was originally written with her brother, Michael Gore, and issued as the B-side of her single, Treat Me Like a Lady. MTV broadcasts and American cable reruns interrupted the performance. One of the strangest mysteries of the show is the missing number, which many people were unaware of. A contentious incident involving Commissioner Gordon also occurred. In one iteration of the series, Batman leads him inside the Batcave, where Alfred renders him comatose with bat sleep spray, causing him to forget the hero's hidden identities. Some scenes were cut by syndications. Because producers were concerned about depicting a police commissioner being drugged, even in a campy setting, they either eliminated the gassing completely or reduced it. In other incarnations, Gordon's participation in the Batcave was completely minimized. The changes demonstrated how, with millions of kids watching, even lighthearted entertainment had to be mindful of its limits. During the Batman era, not all of the odd tales originated on film. Aspen, Colorado, banned Adam West in the late 1960s. For 15 years following the uncontrollable collapse of a famed party. Alcohol, he later conceded? Yes. Women? Yes. Officers? Yes. At the time, he was referred to as a Hollywood devil raiser. Although no criminal charges were ever brought, others believed the ban was the result of property damage and noise complaints. West got a letter from Aspen officials confirming his return exactly 15 years later. The episode solidified his status as more than just a superhero on TV. Off-camera, West and Burt Ward gained notoriety for their nightlife as much as for taking on Gotham's baddies. They frequently came across enthusiastic followers still dressed in their costumes, Ward later acknowledged. He revealed experiences that startled readers and made the show's creators look foolish in his book. According to him, he even once jumped into the mud from a motel window to get away from an envious husband. While West maintained that Ward exaggerated many of the allegations, these stories contributed to the ones that were circulating about the celebrities. Their working relationship was nevertheless strained by the rumors, and network management were concerned that the show's family-friendly reputation may be tarnished. The reputation of the show was even enhanced by their co-stars. Famously, the Joker's actor Cesar Romero refused to shave his mustache. Rather, the makeup crew painted it thickly white for the 1966 movie in all 120 episodes. In close-ups, the faint trace remains discernible, adding to Romero's Joker's lasting impact. What began as a personal vanity become one of the most talked-about oddities in the whole Batman series. Behind the scenes, the actors frequently led wild lives similar to those of their characters. Their triumph, according to both West and Ward, resulted in countless parties with late hours, booze, and unceasing attention. Because these parties occasionally lasted until dawn, performers were exhausted during filming, and makeup artists had to put forth extra effort to keep them looking fresh. There were times when the off-camera insanity rivaled the weekly outrageous escapades, according to accounts from the period. Batman from the 1960s is still remembered for its vibrant action and campy comedy, but also for the innumerable untold tales that surrounded it. Harlan Ellison, the renowned author of science fiction, was asked to submit an episode for the Batman television series in 1966. He decided to introduce the tragic antagonist Two-Face, who was one of Batman's most well-known adversaries but had never appeared on the series. The Two-Way Crimes of Two-Face is the title Ellison gave his novella. It was in keeping with the campy, light-hearted tone of the show, but it also had a darker edge that set it apart. The series would have gained a great deal of star power if actor Clint Eastwood had been considered for the part. However, Ellison's pitch showed up that same day. An important ABC executive was departing the company. The time and the underlying politics caused the script to be rejected. The concept languished for almost half a century in Ellison's files. Only in 2014 did DC ultimately turn it into a comic book titled Batman 66, The Lost Episode, which gave fans a taste of what may have been. For the TV series and its 1966 film, the show also made significant investments in building the Batboat. Blastron constructed the unique yacht, which was crammed with show-stopping technology. It appeared in the movie for the first time, but it was astonishing how much it cost to film on water. Every scene needed a different set of tools. Thousands of dollars are frequently added to each shot for additional personnel and safety precautions. Producers utilized the Batboat seldom due to its high cost, and it was quickly put away in storage. As a reminder of how the show had to economize on some of its most innovative concepts due to financial constraints, it became nearly legendary to viewers. The third season of Batman in 1968 saw a sharp decline in viewership. ABC abruptly ended the show, but NBC expressed interest in bringing it back for a fourth season just when all hope was lost. Then a startling error was discovered. The sets, which included Commissioner Gordon's office, Wayne Manor, and the Batcave, had already been demolished by the producers. It was predicted that rebuilding them would cost several $100,000, which is more than $2 million now. When NBC found out, they abandoned the plan. It concluded in what is now regarded as one of the most costly production errors in television history, potentially saving the series. Fans thought NBC had a serious fourth season planned for years, but official documents contradict this. Already, the budget was losing money, and ratings had fallen to their lowest level. For the third season, just 17 episodes were ordered, and expensive features like the Batboat were either discontinued or utilized infrequently. Rebuilding the sets after they were destroyed would have been too costly for television in 1968. After a quick question, NBC never took any further action. Since it was financially unattainable from the beginning, the idea of a lost fourth season is still more of a myth than a reality, according to papers. When Batman was still a hit, the producers had looked into spin-offs. A pilot was even filmed for one Batgirl series, but she was ultimately incorporated to the main series. Other suggestions included a program for Robin and even one that would function as an early Justice League, showcasing other DC heroes. Following network talks and concept drawings, a few of these proposals advanced to the pitch stage. However, all spin-offs were cancelled once Batman collapsed in its third season, destroying the sets. Some were dropped a few days before to the start of casting. According to 1967 and 1968 network memoranda, the demise of Batman also signified the end of any potential for a broader superhero universe.